back to round 7 of the Phoenix Sim Racing GT Challenge Championship. I hope you're all doing well on this very, very hot Wednesday evening, but it's shaping up to be a fantastic evening racing tonight. Unfortunately, you have me for the whole duration of the evening, due to Joel not being able to be here, as well as our backup conversation, we call him Brad. They've been called away on duty, so unfortunately you have my voice for tonight, and please don't berate me if I take a glass of water, I may need it. But yeah, looking back at last week for Bahrain, we'll go into our best, should we say, point scorers from that weekend, or that race evening, which were Gabriel Norse in P1. Fantastic night's evening for him. He did really, really well, especially being a newcomer to the championship. However, he was followed in very, very close pursuit by Nathan Williams, who was fighting for the championship with Nicky Taylor. But it was Carl Felvis, interestingly, coming back for one, should we say, race evening, being away for a few rounds, potentially getting a little bit frustrated with it. But he was back last week, taking P3 of the overall top scorers from round 6. Now, if we look to the drivers' standings through the whole championship, it's Nicky Taylor that leads the way on 269 points for HLT Racing, followed by his newcomer to the team, Nathan Williams, on 263, very, very close to between them. However, they're followed in close pursuit by Cotaletta, who isn't here this evening, so this is Albert Hendrickson's Belgian to catch up on some valuable points. He is then followed by the Mustang Patrick Carla on 192 points, then Carl Felvis, Gabriel Norse doing extremely well for a newcomer, and then it's Olivia doing really well in P8, followed by Josh Martin and Casper Gazio, who then has Jordan Taylor, nipping at his heels with Oliver Watson, Casper Kukla, Ethan Hill, who's back for tonight, Jordan Osborne, Reese Bell, Jacob Gannon, Vince Chan, and Brendan LeBlanc, who rounds out the 19 drivers. Now, we have quite a small grid for tonight. Interesting, there's only 8 drivers here tonight, so although there's a few less drivers, we're still in for some definitely competitive racing tonight. Obviously, we saw Bahrain last week. It was super competitive with about 8 wide for the lead on that final lap. Me and Joel were going absolutely crazy in the commentary booth. And it looks like we've got this tonight, looking at the practice times. Nicky Taylor leads the way by 1800ths of a second over Nathan Williams, with Gabriel Norse 2 tenths behind, and then Johnny Ogden back for tonight, a further 2 tenths behind that. Olivia in P5 with some stonking good times. Hopefully she can carry that through and be fighting for the win, with Albert Hendrickson Bell in P6 and Ethan Hill in P7, rounded out by the Mustang Patrick Carl in P8. So we have about 20 seconds until we go into qualifying now, and it's been such a fantastic championship. Obviously, these drivers are such talents of the sim racing world, and there's nothing that separates them. There really isn't. They're all so fast, and it's great to see so many different manufacturers up there as well. You know, you got Porsche, you got the likes of Ferrari, and then the Mustang for Ford, all within 8 cars, so it's mega to see. And Fuji tonight, obviously, it's got some fast sweeping corners, followed by some very tight technical sections of Sector 3, so I think we're in for a treat tonight, and it should produce some fantastic racing. So not long now until we hit the qualifying underway. We're just letting drivers finish their last practice laps for tonight's practice session. Like I mentioned, the ballast should play a little effect as well here tonight. Nicky Taylor with 30 kg of ballast, and Nathan Williams with 27 kg, and then Gabriel Norse with only 12 kg in third, and Johnny Ogden, with 0 kg, and he is right with them as well, so we could find there's a new race winner tonight. Obviously, we're getting towards the bitter end of the championship of this Phoenix Sim Racing GT Challenge, so drivers are going to be wanting to, you know, be consistent, not get involved in any accidents, but there are drivers that are very new to this championship who are going to be wanting to put on a very, very good show for your audience tonight. So I think we're going to have a real sort of mixed variation of driving capabilities tonight and driving mentalities. Obviously, some people will be wanting to stay out the way of other drivers, but others will be wanting to go for those race wins and really prove themselves, as this is a great breeding ground for some great drivers. So yeah, I mean, the countdown is now on for qualifying. Time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, these top 5 drivers separated by 5 tenths, and like I mentioned earlier, we saw this at Bahrain with the drivers so close together, fighting it out for every position that they could. And now we're going to swap to the race broadcast, as we have 30 seconds left on the countdown for these drivers to be banging in their quick lap serving tonight. It's just going to be pedal to the metal, and you know, hitting their marks every single corner. We're about to get qualifying underway. Here we go. The drivers now hit first. Wait, pit lane. It's going to be. It's Taylor that leads the way out of the pit lane. No, it's not. Sorry. Phoenix coming into play as he's going to brake for the first corner, trying to get those brakes and tires. We haven't even done one corner yet, so yeah, quite a while to get up to temperature. Gabriel North following in close pursuit. I'm not sure, but they might be wanting to go for a toe here. Obviously, there's a long main straight you're seeing here with some long sweeping corners as we're on board with the Porsche and Ferraris. That the toe could come in effect, obviously breaking that air effect and getting some nice consistent times. These Porsches are almost together as they go down into the tight chicane. Gabriel North's weaving, trying to get as much temperature in the tyres as he can. With, you know, Johnny Ogden leading the way. Obviously, this is his first, I want to say his first event in the championship. As Nathan Williams is going to be taking no time. He's going to be looking for a little move on Gabriel North, interestingly, one of his teammates, but then he's going to back off and do the sensible thing to try and get himself a nice gap. But he can't be too slow because he's now got Kachakala, and is that Ethan Hill? Yes, it is, all over his back. So drivers need to be getting a nice gap now as they come to the bitter end of this. Nicky Taylor's not going to be looking for a gap, interestingly. He is going to be looking for a nice juicy toe off of Jonathan Ogden now, as they power their way down the main straight under the bridge, and now we're pedal to the metal. We'll ride on board for a lap with Nicky Taylor as they go down the main straight, and they're going to be spotting their braking point very, very quickly into turn 1. We're going to be choosing about the one just before the 100-meter mark. We're going to trail brake into the corner. Johnny Ogden definitely missed his braking point there. Going to use the inside curve to hook ourselves around nicely. We're going to flash Johnny Ogden out the way. Is he going to get out of the way? I don't think he is. He's not going to be that compliant as we're now going into turn 2. We're going to brake on the curb. We're now going to cut the inside curb, get on that power as quickly as we can. We're getting held up by Johnny Ogden now. We've tapped him and we've gone for a spin. Definitely not what Nicky Taylor needed, and he's almost taken out Gabriel North in the process. So huge moment for Nicky Taylor there. He's almost probably done some damage to his car. So yeah, very, very unfortunate there for him, but not what he needed. But he's going to be looking to get back into the swing of things and looking for those nice quick times. Now we're going to ride on Gabriel North, because even though he got held up, he's right within the toe of Nathan Williams, who definitely played good out of that scenario, with Nicky Taylor going for a spin. You see the amount of curbs they clatter from Gabriel North before he lifts off, uses the curb, and gets all over the second curb, and opens up to the left to open up the right-hander here. He's going to get all of the right-hand side of the curb, bounce his way across the left, and then brake heavy into the left. We're now going to be seeing these drivers start to finish up their laps now. We have Jonathan Ogden, like I mentioned, is going to be the first one to come across the line. He's going to meet the apex nicely, coming out of the final corner. And now he's going to be opening up that 296 engine all the way to the main straight, under the bridge once more. We're power. We're spotting the start-finish line now, which comes up now, and we're going to set the first flying lap of the qualifying session, which is a 40.6. Quite far off what we saw in practice, but Nathan Williams instantly goes quicker with a 38.4, and Kachakala goes second with a 40-point dead. Ethan Hill then spots him with a 39.6. So all these drivers coming across the line now to set their fast laps. Nathan Williams is a bit more what we expected to see from practice, and that is a rapid lap run here at 38.4. That is very quick. He's ragging the Porsche all the way to the track limits. Try not to go over them though, as we're now going to see these drivers start to complete their second flying laps. Albert, Henricks and Bell did a really nice lap actually with a 39 dead. These Porsches definitely look like they are the strongest car around here. But you never know who could play a factor. We've got a Mustang in P5, and we've got a Ferrari in P4 of Olivia. That was a great first lap by her, really showing what that Ferrari can do. Gabriel North now, he won't be happy with that 42.7 that he did. He massively got held up by Nicky Taylor in that incident, so he'll be wanting to lay some better times here. We've seen how quick he is in the past. He has been rapid for a newcomer. He's only completed 3 rounds, but he is so fast, and definitely a newcomer to this championship. As I say that, he has a huge moment and goes off the circuit, has to bounce across the grass to get his way back onto the circuit. Nicky Taylor is going to be wanting some redemption from that lap 1. Obviously down in P8 at the moment, didn't count his first lap due to him having that spin and probably getting a cut deletion to his lap. But he's now going to be trying to open up that final corner as much as he can, and now he's going to be opening up the Porsche here as he comes to the line. Obviously this is such an important round for Nicky Taylor. He's been doing well so far. He just needs to keep the consistency, stay out of trouble, like we didn't see there, unfortunately. But he's going to come across the line and go P1 with a 38.320. That's much more what we expect from Nicky Taylor. That was a fantastic lap there. However, qualifying is not over, and with just under half the session remaining, he's going to be wanting to bang in some quicker laps. Albert Henriksen Bell improving his time to 38.864, so that was a mega lap there. He's only 5/10 off Nicky Taylor, so could we see a repeat of Bahrain here, where the times are so close together? We may well see that. Johnny Ogden carrying the flag for the Ferraris currently, down in P4, but only 8/10 off. So these drivers are so closely separated that this race is going to be nothing short of entertaining. Ethan Hill, interestingly, coming back to the pit lane, and is that, I think that's Olivia also coming back to the pit lane. No, it wasn't. We're going to have to see who that was. It was a Ferrari of some description, but yeah, definitely not what Ethan Hill would have wanted. Potentially a little mistake, or he feels like his tyres are going off. Olivia's still on a good lap here, lighting up her Sector 1. However, Nicky Taylor is the one to keep your eye on as he goes purple in Sector 2. That is a mega Sector 2 there, almost 2/10 quicker than Nathan Williams on this lap. And he's now going to be wanting to try and maximise this Sector 3 as much as possible. Opening up the left, braking heavily for the right. He's going to get back to the apex, nice. Power out, use all of the road on the exit, and he's now going to be powering all the way down this main straight. Hasn't got too much of a toe, but this is still nice from Nicky Taylor on what he needed. The other person to keep an eye on is Gabriel Norris as he comes up to the line and goes P3, only a 10th and 1.8 off. So that was a mega lap there from him. As I say that though, Nicky Taylor comes in with a 38.1. That is tremendously quick as he goes 2/10 quicker than anyone else in this session. So he's unlocked pace. Unlike anyone else in this session. Nathan Williams is setting himself up now for a nice, probably second to last lap, I would say. He's nicely within the toe of Gabriel Norris. No, it's not. It's Nicky Taylor, I believe. Yes, it is. So Nathan Williams going to be wanting to put on a good lap here. Obviously, he is in P2, but he's P2 in the championship as well. So if he can maintain this pole position and try and get a gap in the race, that would be his ideal scenario. Albert Henriksen Bell, though, putting pressure in the Porsche as well. Obviously a privateer in this championship. But, you know, P4, only 7/10 off is a mega effort, especially when you haven't got setup builders like Ethan Hill or, you know, Jordan Taylor building those setups for you that you can then go and race. So, yeah, a mega effort from Henriksen Bell here. Getting it across nice and early to the apex. However, Nicky Taylor does not stop, does he? He's gone purple in the second sector once more. He's going to cut back to the inside line, open up the left as much as possible. However, there's a slow portion his way, and he's not going to get going. We've almost been held up a little bit through this final corner. Was that Gabriel holding it up? Yes, it was. Just ever so slightly. Nothing major there, but what that has allowed Nicky Taylor to have is a tremendous toe. But he's going to pull out of it and come into the pit lane, is he? Yes, he is. He doesn't feel like he can go any quicker. Gabriel set himself up for a nice Sector 3, or next lap, should I say. Yeah, it was quite far off. Nathan Williams not improving on that final sector. So he's going to need something tremendous on this final lap. And Johnny Ogden doing fairly well. Obviously a newcomer to this championship. He's improved on the last lap. Only 8/10 off. So a mega effort from him there. Obviously he'll be wanting to improve his time, but obviously try and maintain that P5 most importantly, so he can have a shot at doing a good race result in race 1 and then race 2, obviously with the reverse grid. Nathan Williams had though. However, even with Nicky Taylor going purple on that last lap and then bailing out of it with that tremendous 38.1, Nathan Williams is the one to keep your eye on as he has gone purple in Sector 1 on a 22.4. A 10th quicker than what Nicky Taylor has achieved. So we're going to see Nathan come into the heavy braking zone of the chicane, brake heavily, bounce across the curb, Missed it ever so slightly there, but that probably won't compromise him too much. So he's got Johnny Ogden again out of the way on the grass there. And now we're into the very, very tricky sector 3. He's dropped off a little bit in the middle sector where actually Nathan Williams, interestingly, seems to struggle ever so slightly. But he's going to be getting heavy onto the brakes now, cutting that inside corner, opening up that corner as much as possible, really maximising the track limits. Braking for the right, getting it in nice and early. You want a nice early apex here so you can open up this final corner as much as possible and have a nice run to the line. He's going to be in hot pursuit of Gabriel Norris. He's going to have a lovely toe. Gabriel not lighting up the times as much as we thought. However, he's sort of matching Nathan. So if he's pulled out a good sector 3, that is what he needs. It's going to be interesting when they come to the line. Ethan Hill setting a good sector 1 there. Gabriel Norris comes across the line. It's improvement, but not enough. Nathan Williams improves to a 0.145, but it is not enough. It's not enough. He misses out by 22 hundredths there. That is the margins we're talking in this championship. The only other person that I can see lighting up the times in this session is Ethan Hill. Ethan Hill is the last person to keep an eye on as he brakes now into sector 3, opening up that corner as much as possible before braking into the left. The tremendously difficult braking zone as you're turning whilst braking across the left, opening up the corner as much as possible on the right before bringing it back over to the left, braking in a straight line, bringing it back over to the right. He's a little bit late of an apex there, potentially would have scrubbed a bit of speed, but it's still not bad as he comes up to the line to try and set his best lap possible. He's now going to come up to the line to set his final lap of the session. He's going to come up. Is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. He gets sub 1 second off of Nicky Taylor, but it's still 9 tenths off and no improvement on the time. So we have Nicky Taylor on pole, followed by Nathan Williams, Gabriel Norris running out the top 3, Albert Henriksen Bell, Johnny Ogden, Ethan Hill, Olivia Kruzanowski, and Alessandro Catricala rounding out the top 8. We're going to go to a short ad break now, and we will catch up with your pole man after this short ad break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back after a very, very entertaining qualifying session there. I'm going to be joined by your pole man, Nicky Taylor. A fantastic lap on a 38.1. However, he was just telling me that he's been a lot quicker in practice, and he's going to be having Nathan Williams snapping at his heels. Nicky, how was that session on your part?
Horrendous. In short, I was like at the start of the quali session, I kind of got stuck behind Jonathan or Jordan. Sorry, not Jonathan. Oh no, it's Jonathan. I'll get the names right eventually. I got stuck behind Jonathan, and I kind of saw he messed up T1 in my eyes, and thought he was going to move out the way, but clearly he was on for one of his better laps. So hey ho, whatever happens, happens with that. And then tried to keep doing laps and messed up my lap a few times. So I was on for, I think overall best would have been like a 37.8, 37.7. So yeah, wasn't a clean lap and wasn't a quick lap by my standards, but enough to get pole. So I can't really complain.
Well, even with that, you still grabbed pole, and it was such a stressful. It must have been such a stressful session, obviously, with that slight issue at the beginning, like you mentioned. Looking ahead to the race now, obviously you are the championship leader. Are you looking to just maintain that points buffer, or are you going to be trying to go for the win to further extend that and take a few risks on the way?
I mean, as much as I'd love the wins in this, I think, in theory, my better solution here is to try and lose 7 points to Nathan, so Nathan can go into Le Mans with 3 kg extra, so I have a bit more down the straight. But yeah, at the end of the day, I wouldn't say no to 2 wins, and I'm always going to go for a win anyway, because that's not the way I do things. Is laying back. So we'll see how it goes, and I don't think it'll be as entertaining as Bahrain, because there's not that many of us this week, but I still think me, Nathan, and probably Gabriel will put on a decent show. Albert might be able to sneak in as well. It just depends on how the tyres go off and how everything happens.
Brilliant. Obviously, you've got the reverse grid race. Obviously, for this race one, are you potentially gonna play a few games and maybe let a few people pass to have a better advantage in the reverse grid, or is it goal out for this to then just try and stay safe in race two?
From the HFT side of things as well, of our group and our lot who have been practicing, I seem to be the only one out of our group that adores Fuji, and I've said many times to my mates this is probably one of my top 3 tracks of all time. So I love this track, and the track is definitely wide enough to overtake a lot of cars. So I think even if I start flat last in the reverse grid, there's only 8 or so cars, so I don't think it'll be too much of a hassle. So in all honesty, go for the win in race one and then try and do it again in race two, like I did at previous rounds.
Brilliant. Well, and finally, is there anyone else you'd like to shout out and thank on the stream?
Other than my sponsors, with just Ajax and the Alarm Company, yeah, just shout out to them and thank you for funding my racing season in real life and in the sim.
Well, many good lucks, and I hope to be speaking to you again after this race. Have a good one.
Hopefully so. Cheers.
Now, we're going to be looking forward to race one now. Nicky Taylor, your pole man, leading the championship. He doesn't want to do anything too risky tonight. He just wants to be trying to maintain those points. But like he mentioned, obviously that ballast is really going to hurt around your final round at Le Mans. So he's going to be wanting to, play it sensibly and not lose too many points to Nathan, but if he can get that 3 kg less of ballast, that could really, really help him, especially down places like the Mulsanne Straight. Nathan, though, I think he's going to be wide to those tricks. He's got a lot of experience, and with them being on the same team, it'll be interesting how they play that game. Obviously, Gabriel, a newcomer to the championship, he's not worried about the ballast. He's worried about getting those wins and those results to show what he can do. So I think he's definitely going to be feisty for tonight, looking for at least a podium, potentially even another win like we saw last week. And he's got some mega pace. Albert Henriksen Bell potentially could stay with them, but I think you're going to have sort of this top 3 breakaway. And then your likes of Ethan Hill, Johnny Ogden, Olivia, and potentially the Mustang of Capture Carlo can then have a midfield battle, and you might see 2 gaps separate. I think that'll be really interesting to see, obviously, as the race progresses. But as I've mentioned before, a 20-minute sprint race. So these drivers are not going to have long to make these moves or race as hard as we've seen the previous 6 rounds with the half-an-hour races. Tyre management isn't going to be as much of a thing. So the drivers will be wanting to just push flat out from the start, from the green flag all the way until that checkered flag. And I think you could find maybe a few mix-ups. Obviously, we saw there Nicky Taylor's the only one that really, really loves this circuit. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how this race evening is going to go. Obviously, we're just waiting to get into the race now. And yeah, here we go. Race 1 of tonight at Fuji. We'll see how it goes. Just waiting for everything to kick off now. Have we? I lost everything as well. I've just got a black screen. They still hear us? Or?
going on, guys, and welcome back to Nerd PC Turbo Tech Reviews. Now today is something a little bit different. Normally we do just reviews on a single item, but today we're going to be showing you guys what you can expect from Nerd PC. Nerd PC is a bespoke building company where you can get absolutely any sort of style of gaming PC, office work PC, retail, or even for school work. This PC here demonstrates how small they can be, but yet still pack an absolute powerful punch. So from such a small computer like this, you may be worrying about heat, but these fans inside of here keep it absolutely ice cold as well as quiet. Now listen to this. Nice and quiet. Beautiful. Now we build completely different style of computers. Like I said, from this little one up here, it's all down to you. You get to decide on which case you want to use. You get to decide if you want it all flashy and RGB. You get to decide whether you want it completely plain and black. Remember, we did the hard part of figuring out which components work best for you for your value for money, but you get to decide on how it looks. If you're after something that's in your face, some bright and powerful as this. So this build here is in a Gigabyte C102 glass Arctic Ice case with 320mm cooler master fans at the front, 360mm all-in-one cooler at the top. This full white ice build does look insane. And I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. So if you're on the market for a brand new shining gaming computer, or if you want a computer for home use, retail, or office work, it's completely down to you. We just make it happen. So if you haven't done already, go and head over to the website at www.nerdpc.co.uk, have a browse through, see what's on there, or drop us a message directly on Facebook, and we'll do our absolute best to make it happen for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy this video, hit the like for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!
Hello everyone, welcome back. A few technical issues there. We apologise about that, but it is not long now until the start of the race. Just under 5 minutes remain now, and that could get shortened. We never know. Obviously, Nicky Taylor starts on pole with Nathan Williams alongside, and then we have Gabriel Norse in P3 in close pursuit. So yeah, a very, very close race, and we've got two 20-minute races for you guys to watch and enjoy. So yeah, can't wait to get into it now. Should be really, really good fun. Usually this is the bit when Joel hands me the start of race one, but it's going to be me taking both starts and both whole 20-minute races and interviews tonight. Really, really looking forward to it. Cannot wait, and I don't think these drivers can wait either. They must be ecstatic to get on the circuit at the moment. Obviously they've had a lot of time to, compartmentalize and think about what they're doing ahead of this race, what their thoughts going into it, where they're going to position the car on the first lap. Obviously we have a tight hairpin to start the lap, so I think there potentially could be a few dives, but nonetheless, I think all drivers are sensible enough to know that they don't want to take each other out, and now we're at the bitter end. New drivers to the championship won't want to be taking out any seasoned veterans, should we say, that have a chance of the championship. The likes of Jonathan Ogden, Catricala, and Ethan Hill won't want to be doing anything stupid. However, with a couple minutes remaining until the start of this race, the drivers, the nerves will be starting to build, the engines will be starting to come on, and it's not going to be long until those red lights come on and illuminate. Olivia with a great qualifying in P5, beating the Mustang, beating a few other Porsches as well, which was a fantastic effort. About a second off pole, which is absolutely fantastic. Really no time at all, especially around a long circuit like this, and it's been a great improvement from her previous rounds. Obviously, she is not going to be wanting to do anything stupid, just get a good result. This is probably her best circuit to do it on, unless she finds mega pace as well at Le Mans. But obviously that is such a tricky circuit. I apologise. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting run down to turn one. A short run, but a short, quick run with these Porsches, these Mustangs, these Ferraris all coming into life very, very shortly. these are when the nerves start to build for your championship rivals. Nathan Williams and Nicky Taylor are going to be side-by-side action down into turn 1. There's really going to be nothing separating the two of them. They're going to be wanting to put on the best performance possible. The engines are now starting to rise, as we have Nicky Taylor on pole position. Nathan Williams, a couple hundredths off. A couple hundredths. That is the margins we are talking in this championship. Gabriel Norse, a few tenths back from that. And then it was Olivia in P5, just behind Jonathan Ogden. Albert Henriksen Bell, in P4. 40 seconds remain on the clock, and these drivers are going to be springing into action as they roar down to turn 1 in these fantastic GT3 cars. On this fantastic mod, I must say, by Racing Studio of these GT3 cars. Absolutely fantastic job by them. But here we go. 25 seconds remain. Really not long now until the lights illuminate, and these drivers set off in hot pursuit of one another. The engines starting to come alive. The lights illuminating. We're going to have, very, very soon, we are going to have 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights, and finally the 6th light will illuminate, and the drivers roar off down into turn 1 now. They are racing. Albert Henriksen Bell with a good start. Not to be said, he's already in first place. Jonathan Wilson in P2 now, being cut across the front of, and allowing no room there from Albert Henriksen Bell. Nicky Taylor trying to go around the outside, no room there, so Jonathan Ogden. And that is Gabriel Norse sweeping around the inside, now alongside Albert Henriksen Bell for P1. However, he's on the outside, so this is going to be tremendously difficult for him. He's going to be squeezed by Albert Henriksen Bell, no room given there by Henriksen Bell as he spins out the lead of the race. Hopefully he's going to get collected by no one. However, he does. Is that Nathan Williams? He comes together with no. Nathan cuts across the inside, avoiding him by the narrowest of margins, and that played perfectly into the hands of Nicky Taylor, who is now into P2, right on the back of Gabriel Norse, It was Ethan Hill that was collected, unfortunately, so really not what he needed. But the main issue there was Nathan Williams. He's been cost so much, and that is such an issue for him, especially as we come down into these bitter ends, and every point counts. However, Nicky Taylor was saying that he wanted less ballast for the remaining races at Le Mans, and this is not what he needed if he wanted that drink to come alive. Nathan will now be settling back in with 18 minutes remaining. Nicky Taylor put in Gabriel Norse under all sorts of pressure, but he's going to have to look in his rear view mirror as Jonathan Ogden is all over the back in that Ferrari, a great looking Ferrari, it must be said as well. He's going to be looking to get a nice smooth run out of there, but he can't focus too much as he has got, is that Nathan? I believe it's Nathan, yes it is, all over the back. So even though he lost a bit, he's had a great comeback. Now he's on the outside, on the main straight, going down into turn 1. Using the side draft now, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Jonathan Ogden has no ballast. Nathan Williams has 27 kg of ballast. However, that Porsche is starting to come alongside. He's gaining. He's got a slight off his teammates just in front. They're side by side under the DHL bridge. Who's going to be the latest on the brakes? It's going to be Nathan Williams just about as he goes in a little bit deep. Johnny Ogden looked for that cutback, but it's not enough. Nathan Williams straight into P2. Now he's going to be hunting down Nicky Taylor and Gabriel Norse for P1 and P2 in succession. Olivia with a good start there, actually in P5, just settling in and actually gaining on Johnny Ogden, so it's been a great start for her. This could be a fantastic finish if she just keeps it on the road and keeps it nice and settled as well. Bounces across the grass there, just on the inside, maximising the road as much as possible. Carla in the Mustang dropping away a little bit down in P8, and Ethan Hill, even after getting caught up in that collision with a bit of damage, is still in P7, looking to gain on that Albert Henriksen Bell in front, who also have damage. Gabriel Norse in the lead is actually starting to gap Nicky Taylor, it must be said, a tiny little bit. I'm going to put my betting, I'm going to say it's going to be Gabriel Norse in this race. We know he puts up a great fight. See him get a little bit sideways there, and Nicky Taylor straight up the inside does not need a second invitation. However, Gabriel is going to hold it around the outside, bounce across the curb. Is Nicky Taylor going to go for that cutback? No, he's not. He's going to go for that wide line to try and get it on the exit. Is it going to prevail? No, it's not. However, Gabriel Norse getting all sorts of sideways on the exit there. Nicky Taylor to the outside, trail braking into the corner, coming off the brakes, back to power. He is well within the toe now. The more these guys fight as well, the more Nathan Williams catches up onto the back. Nicky Taylor almost bumped after Gabriel North down the straight. I think he is bumped after he's down the straight. These cars are going to be reaching insane amount of speed here. Gabriel North, has he gone defensive? No, he's not. He's going to stick to his normal racing line, proving that Nicky Taylor is going to put no pressure going into turn 1. However, has he been fooled by the seasoned veteran? He's going to brake late, go down the inside of Gabriel. Is there going to be any contact? No, there's not. Gets his stop nicely at the apex. Really maximises the inside of the curb there. And Gabriel North's quite generous with the amount of room given. But he's now had that wide line to cut back. He's now back on the inside of Nicky Taylor. Is he going to be later on the brakes? Yes, he is. He's going to cut back to the inside and say, no, you don't, Nicky, and take that lead back. And there's still 16 minutes that remain of this race. Nathan Williams getting all sorts of crossed up in the background, though. But he has gained on that last lap. He's only 1.1 seconds back and gaining. The gap is coming down this lap. Jonathan Ogden's still doing a fantastic job in P4 there. However, he is being put under by a little bit of pressure by Olivia, with some great pace from her. Albert Ericsson Bell and Ethan Hill dropping back ever so slightly, with Katrikal, I think, potentially having a little mistake as he is now 23 seconds back. So, not the start that he would have wanted, but it is what it is. So, yeah, a great start. As I say that, there's been a huge incident between Nicky Taylor and Gabriel North. Gabriel is not going to be popular, considering he is new to the team. He has taken out the championship rival, and that has allowed Johnny Ogden and Olivia onto the podium spots. Fantastic job by these two in the Ferrari, really carrying the Ferraris tonight. There's still 15 minutes for those guys to catch up though, and they've lost time, yes, but it is glorious. So yeah, really not what they needed. That is not what you do to a teammate when they're in the championship fight, but they'll move on from it, they'll shake hands. And now Gabriel is back on the back of Nicky Taylor, so he really can't do anything too silly. Nathan Williams, though, that has gifted him the lead. If he takes the championship lead, he'll have more ballast for Le Mans, but if he's got enough of an advantage, he can play this out really nicely. He's got 5 tenths of Jonathan Ogden behind, with 14.5 minutes that remain. Really played well there into the hands of Nathan Williams. Did have a little bit of contact, so could have a bit of damage, but I think everyone does after that lap 1 incident and that lap 3 incident there as well. Coming up to, well, we're quarter of the race done here at Fuji for race 1 of the Phoenix Sim Racing Intercontinental GT Challenge. However, Johnny Ogden has got some pace. He's found some pace from somewhere, and that Ferrari with no ballast is well within the toe of Nathan Williams now. One person that's also putting up a fight is Nicky Taylor, all over the back of Olivia now for P3. Olivia wanting a podium, but at the same time she can't fight too much. He is the championship leader, and she'll be wanting a solid P4 and 5. That would do her wonders, and really make her day, I think. Nathan Williams starting to build a gap out in front. Gap has gone up this lap. We would expect him to, with all of his experience and pace behind the wheel of that Porsche. However, the Porsche in P4 is the one to watch. Nicky Taylor, is he going to go up the inside into the final corner? No, he's going to go wide. He's going to set Olivia up. And Johnny, actually, they've been gaining leaps and bounds on him. Olivia running a little bit wide over the curbs, maximising the track limits. That's 1 down for her already, I think, that she's maximised. But she is now well within the toe of Johnny, and there's a potential move coming here. I know they're within the same team, but I think when, they're both quite low down in the championship, this is when the moves count, further towards the end of the championship. Oh, here we go. Nicky Taylor on the lights. Olivia looking for a move. She goes down the inside so late on the brakes, completely outbrakes herself. However, she'll have the wide line and the drive off the corner. So this will allow Nicky Taylor to get up alongside her. But will that Ferrari pull back through? I think it will, It will with less ballast. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? It's going to be Nicky, and does Olivia round the outside. So, yeah, Olivia down to P4, but still a great position, and she wasn't involved in any contact, so her car will still be clean as anything. Nicky Taylor now sets his sights on Jonathan Ogden. Jonathan Ogden will be feeling the pressure, obviously by having Nicky Taylor, the championship leader, right behind. That is certainly not the scenario you want to be in. But he's still on for a podium in his first round of this GT Challenge. That is absolutely mental to be saying. He has found so much pace in this Ferrari for tonight. This goes to show practice does make perfect. A little bit of an interesting line there through the chicane from Johnny Ogden. That allows Nicky Taylor to catch right back onto the back. Nicky Taylor's going to have this drive off of here now. Is he going to go for his fabled move and go wide into the final corner, try and look for the cutback? big slide there from Nicky Taylor. He's now going to have the drive into the final corner with a slightly wider line there. He's going to go wide. He's going to set Jonathan up. Jonathan hasn't quite met the apex as nice as he would have wanted to. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. Now Nicky Taylor is well within the toe, and this is great for a great recovery drive from him. And if he can allow Nathan Williams to get the championship lead, like he mentioned in his qualifying interview, he will have less ballast. Jonathan Ogden goes from the defensive, interestingly. I didn't think Nicky was that close. But clearly that Porsche's got some speed in the straight line. Jonathan Ogden pulls back to the original racing line that you would expect him to, trail breaks into the corner and gets back to the power of that very banked hairpin, it must be said, of turn 1. And this, this defensive driving and battling could allow Olivia back into play. Gabriel Norris is back up into P5 after the incident. Albert Henriksen Bell, I think, was involved in an incident. He dropped a few places and lost a few seconds. And Capricala really struggling in that Mustang. Potentially that Mustang is not suited to Fuji, and he's not quite bonded with it like he would have wanted to. Johnny Ogden now really defensive on Nicky Taylor. They're side by side through this very tricky sequence of corners. Just about holds him behind. That Ferrari is going to have to be driving a monstrous defensive drive for 10.5 minutes now to keep Nicky Taylor, your real life driver as well in the Renault Clio Cup, behind. Now Nicky Taylor goes to the outside into the chicane. He's going to trail break through, look for that cutback. He's going to cut back, have a wide line, a nice drive off the corner. That was a beautiful drive for that Porsche off of the corner, really using all of his rear wheel drive forte there. That Porsche is going to cut back. Is he? No, he's going to try hold it around the outside to have the inside. Johnny Ogden's wise to it though. He takes a middle line. You can't give that much room, and there's contact. Johnny Ogden goes round. Olivia into P3. That's not what she would have expected. Super unfortunate stuff there from Nicky Taylor and Jonathan Ogden. And Nicky Taylor is driving quite aggressively. And this late on in the season, if there's a few penalties coming his way, he doesn't have these seconds behind him because Olivia and the likes of Gabriel are all over the back. So, this could drop him a few more places. And I know he did want Nathan to beat him tonight, but he can't have him beaten by that much. Otherwise, that could play a serious effect into his championship hopes. It's crazy after 7 rounds, it's this close, 7 points separates them for this race. Olivia doing a great job in P3, fantastic job actually, but she does have Gabriel and Ethan Hill closing up into the back. They are some rapid drivers, and that's going to be pressure city for her, as we've met the halfway mark in this race. Go through the banked corner now. Gabriel Norris has found some pace from somewhere, and he is now all over the back of Olivia. Look at the times now. Olivia's best is a 39.3 with Gabriel's on 38.9. You see her there park the bus through that corner, allowing no room for Gabriel to have the cutback there. Really smart driving from her. Ethan Hill in P5 looking to pick up any pieces that he potentially could from this battle going on currently. Nathan Williams has built a nice gap, 4 seconds. However, Nicky Taylor's put in a purple sector 2 here, and the question must be said, is there enough time for him to come back in this race? As we see Gabriel Norris loop it, interestingly, potentially feeling the pressure, having to get past Olivia for a podium. This is really playing into the hands of Olivia now. She's doing a fantastic job. As I say that, she has a very sideways moment, manages to catch it with a bit of grass on the entry there, but she's still got a nice buffer in hand. And that has now bumped Johnny Ogden, would you believe it, back up into P4 with Henriksen Bell just behind in hot pursuit and Ethan Hill just behind that. Nicky Taylor has put in the fastest lap of the race on a 38.347, only 2/10 slower than his qualifying pace. So mega laps being put in here, even with heavier fuel and the tyres slightly more worn. But yeah, Nathan Williams going to be feeling the pressure now. 3/10 taken out of him on the last lap. However, there's only 8 minutes left, so Nicky's going to have to do a little better job to catch up to Nathan in the lead if he wants this race win. Obviously they're teammates as well, so they don't want to do anything stupid and take each other off. Olivia must be loving life right now. She's got 2.8 seconds to hand over her teammate Johnny Ogden, with Henriksen Bell putting a huge amount of pressure on Johnny Ogden. This little trio coming through now with Ethan Hill down the inside of Henriksen Bell, unable to make the move work there, but he's now all over the back of the chicane, and potential dive bomb coming into play here. Here we go. Let's go on board actually with, it's Gabriel Norris going down the inside of Albert Henriksen Bell. Does he get stopped at the apex? Yes, he does. However, they're side by side. Gabriel backs out of it, tries to go for the cutback. He's got a beautiful drive, doing the exact same that Nicky Taylor did earlier on in the race. He's going to go to the outside, look for the cutback. 7 minutes remain of this race. He's now on the outside for the next set of corners though. Is he able to do him round the outside? He's gone in slightly deep. He's now looking for the next cutback. This is such a great sector of Fuji. Twisty and turny as well. He's down the inside. Has he got it stopped to the apex? Yes, he has. He's going to park it over Henriksen Bell round the outside. He's going to have to drive off. And now going to go on the defensive into turn 1 with very, very tight hairpin. Nathan Williams has responded to the pace of Nicky Taylor with a purple sector 3 there. The gap's come down though to 3.4 seconds. So, yeah, gap's coming down, but with only 6.5 minutes remaining, I don't think he hasn't quite got enough of the hand, has Nicky Taylor. However, that could play in the hand for the championship battle. Olivia doing really, really well. The gap has come down between her and Johnny Ogden, but again, the gaps have really, really spread out in this race due to a few earlier incidents. So I don't know if it's going to be enough. However, he is looking feisty, and he'll be wanting some payback after that little incident with Nicky Taylor at the beginning of the race. Olivia driving a really, really good drive here, keeping it nice and consistent, keeping the car on the road, which is the main thing. Obviously, we see it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. Obviously, the tyres aren't going off as much as they are in half-an-hour races, but they still are going off quite a considerable amount. Someone who isn't feeling that sort of issue is Nicky Taylor. He has bumped in a 36.6 as middle sector, which isn't only purple, it was quicker than his sector 2 time in qualifying. So he is rapid, Nicky Taylor currently. He is absolutely flying and wringing the neck out of that Porsche. He was 3/10 quicker in sector 2, and a further 2/10 quicker, so he's currently getting about 6-7 tenths on this lap alone. The gap is going to be sub 3 seconds, I would say, as they come across the line. We'll wait and see. The gap is Nathan Williams crosses the beam. It's 2.9. 5 tenths taken out on that last lap. A further 10th quicker in sector 3 was Nicky Taylor. He's found something in that Porsche that Nathan hasn't. A second's been taken out currently, and there's still 4.5 minutes remain. Nathan's just got to keep it on the road and keep it nice and conservative here to not have any further incidents or spins to try and bring home a win. The battle that is heating up, though, is the one between Gabriel Norse and Johnny Ogden. Gabriel Norse has gained more on Johnny Ogden than he has on Olivia, so this could be a lifeline to Olivia if they start battling behind and potentially get involved in an incident or just hold each other up. That could be fantastic, fantastic news. You see that Porsche almost on rails from the HFT team. They've done a great job of setting up that car. Potentially some more Jordan Taylor setups coming into play, as he is now right on the back of Jonathan Ogden, sorry, down into the chicane now. That Porsche is flying as they come into the very, very twisty and tight sector 3. Heavy onto the brakes into the chain. He's gone for the most outrageous half move. Jonathan Ogden has gone late onto the brakes though. They've really closed up on Olivia. So now we have a trio for the final podium places. The gap has sort of stayed the same between the front two. Only a 10th being taken out this lap. Gabriel North with a huge slide, and he goes off the circuit once more. So he's had a lot of incidents this race, must be said. So he's struggling potentially with just Fuji or the layout of the Porsche. Nicky Taylor, let's see how much he closes in this lap. Has he closed in at all? Has he put in a good sector 3? He has gone 6 tenths quicker than Nathan Williams in sector 3, so the gap is now down to 2.3. That Porsche is becoming ever bigger in Nathan Williams' mirrors, so he's going to have to be putting up a defensive drive potentially towards the end of this race. There's still 2 laps remaining, or potentially 3 laps remaining, depending on when they cross the beam last. Gabriel Norse, obviously, with that little moment, has dropped away from Johnny Ogden. However, not that much, and he's still right behind that Ferrari, potentially picking up any pieces that he can. You see Olivia banging in her best sector 1 of the race on a 22.8, a 10th quicker than Jonathan Ogden, but a 10th slower than Gabriel Norse, who is flying towards the end of this race. If he can just keep away from the mistakes ever so slightly, he is going to be flying. Nathan Williams is driving a good race so far. He's a 10th quicker than Nicky Taylor in sector 1 this lap. So fantastic drive from him so far, especially with that incident avoidance. Nicky Taylor has clawed back that 10th though in Sector 2, and then we should see him come alive in Sector 3 like he did last lap. He was flying through Sector 3 last time. However, has Nathan Williams picked up the pace and response to his last lap? It'll be interesting to see. They both exit the final corner now and power their way up to the start-finish line. Olivia with some good sector times, interestingly, similar to Johnny Ogden. With Gabriel Norse has close 4/10 to them, and he's down the inside of Johnny Ogden and has made them move complete. However, Johnny Ogden with a wide line, he's going to have the inside, and this is ever while playing into the hands of Olivia. And they're going to be side by side. Gabriel's going to have to cut back into the toe with that throw with 0 kg of ballast playing into huge effect. Gap down to 2 dead seconds now between the top two, with again a fantastic sector 3 on Nicky Taylor's behalf. The Porsche pulls to the outside. Is he late on the brakes? He is late on the brakes. Not later than the Ferrari though. The Ferrari bashes him out of the way. Says no, you don't. You're not coming through, and he doors him out of the way. Puts him on the wide part of the circuit on the track limits, and there is no way through there. This is tense moments on the final lap of the race. I don't think they're going to squeeze another one in here. They may, but I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. That Porsche all over the back of Johnny Ogden now. He's going to take a wide line. Oh, Johnny Ogden really slows down into that corner, potentially little early on the brakes to try and catch Gabriel Norse out there. But what he has done is bumped himself out wide in doing so, and that's allowed Ethan Hill through and onto the back of Gabriel Norse. Is there a move coming? I think there is. He's to the outside of Gabriel Norse. Johnny Ogden on the inside. They're so close. Pods out here, you could say, as they bump each other out of the way. Johnny Ogden's now looking on. He's thinking potentially there's a little incident to come, and I can claw my way back through, because I have to say that Ferrari is looking quick behind the hands of Johnny Ogden. Nicky Taylor with a fantastic sector 2 on 36.6, another purple sector from himself. We'll see what the gap is as they come across the line. They are going to squeeze. I think they're going to squeeze one more lap out of this. Are they going to? Yes, just about. With 1 second remaining, a further 3/10 taken out of Nathan Williams on that last lap. So fantastic effort from Nicky there, but I think he's run out of time. As we cut back to this trio now of Johnny Ogden, Gabriel Norse and Ethan Hill. There's a little gap to Olivia, so Olivia, I think, has done herself a little lifeline here. She just needs to keep it nice and consistent for this final lap of the race. Ethan Hill, though, all over the back of Gabriel Norse. Lights are being flashed here. He's desperate to get past and try and get a P4. That'd be a great return to the championship for himself. He's going to have to try and hook this lap up as nice as he can, though. A little slide from Gabriel there. And what they are doing is closing up onto Olivia. Olivia just needs to hold on now for half a lap, 3/4 of a lap. And she will have her first podium in the championship. Oh, Gabriel looking down the inside of her. She's not going to give it that easy, though. And she's going to have to go onto the defensive now. Going to absolutely have to hug the white line as she goes into the chicane. Pressure is going to be rising. They're not, I don't think they're quite close enough, but we have seen Gabriel pull some ridiculous dive bombs. He's going to do it once more. Olivia trying to chop his nose. He's down the inside. He hits her out the way. What an unfortunate time for Olivia. She's going to come back, though. Pod Ethan Hill off. Send him wide, straight across the curbs. She's not going to be fond of that. That was definitely an interesting move there from Gabriel. I don't think she'll like that. Oh, Johnny Ogden spins out on the curb in the background. Not what he needed. Not at all. We see here Olivia trying to hold on from Ethan Hill. She's going to have to go defensive. She leaves the door open, though. A little bit of her own fault there. Leaves the door open on the inside. Ethan Hill does not need a second invitation. And just like that, hero to 0 almost. 3rd to 5th. Definitely not what she needed. It's going to be Nathan Williams, though, that wins the race of race 1 here at Fuji, with Nicky Taylor only 1.1 seconds behind. Man, that was heating up towards the end. Gabriel in P3. A solid drive from him, but I don't think he'll be too popular, causing that incident between Nicky. We'll have to have a look at the replay. Ethan Hill in a solid P4, good recovery drive from himself. Olivia bringing it home in P5. She'll still be happy with the P5, still a tremendous effort, and we'll have a good chance of the reverse grid later on this evening. Albert Henriksen-Boe in P6 with Jonathan Ogden taking P7, and Kachikala rounding out the grid in 8th place. A fantastic race here at Fuji. We're going to go to a short ad break now and let these drivers return back to the pit lane, and we'll be joined by your top 3. Hello everyone and welcome back after an interesting race one here at Fuji. It must be said a few championship contenders having a few issues and getting caught up in a few incidents. I'm first going to be joined by Gabriel Norse. A great recovery drive from yourself. Talk us through that race on your part.
At the start I had a couple of incidents. There was the turn 2 incident and I just kept on going straight on, which was great. But yeah, it was alright. I had a spin in the middle of the race which didn't really help, but climbing back up to third was definitely a bonus.
Brilliant. Well, you look like you definitely had some fun out there. And I was certainly jealous I was not driving. Obviously, going into this reverse grid race now, looking to, just try and bank some solid points. You're starting ahead of Nathan and Nikki, who were rapid in that race. What are your thoughts going into this? Do you want another race win after tasting it at Bahrain?
Yeah, I want to kind of battle them this race. I mean, I would have probably been able to keep up with them without a couple of incidents, but other than that, yeah, I think I'm gonna really try and fight them this race.
Brilliant, mate. I do not deny it. Obviously, after Bahrain, we saw some mega battles. Are you looking for some more, or would you prefer to just drive off into the sunny distance and not have to look back?
It's definitely nice just driving off into the distance, but I think some battles would definitely be very fun against Nathan, Nikki, and Ethan and Albert.
I can imagine. I can certainly imagine. And finally, is there anyone you'd like to thank on the stream?
Probably all of the HFT boys, my dad, and Sim Demon.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining with me, and I wish you all the very best for race 2 here at Fuji.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. There was Gabriel Norse, your P3 finisher. I'm next going to be joined by, I think, a man of a few words here. Nikki Taylor, obviously your championship leader going into this race. Nathan Williams would have taken the gap down to you. But is that what you wanted for the ballast at Le Mans? Obviously not being taken out, but you still seem to have some mega pace, even with the damage.
I mean, technically, yes, is what I wanted, but yeah, certain cars who weren't meant to be involved in the championship, I think, were getting a bit too involved in that race, and that's all I'll say on that matter, because I don't want to be penalised for saying any more. But yeah, it's just a bit annoying, to be fair, because like the pace was there. I was consistently lapping like 38 threes, 38 fours. So like the pace was there, and I was gaining massively on Nathan. I think he said that he had Red Wing in the chat afterwards, after me mounting him unintentionally. But yeah, it was a bit of a race of like what could have been. But at the end of the day, P2 is not too bad, and as you've already said, the slight sandbagging to get towards Le Mans on lower ballast is going quite well currently.
Brilliant. Definitely played a factor on your part, even with those few incidents. Now, obviously, going into the reverse grid here, obviously you're starting alongside Nathan and behind Gabriel. Is there any thoughts going into this race? Are you going to try and stay out of trouble, and try and let Nathan maybe squeeze on past, but then stay with him to try and eliminate that gap, or what's the plan going into this one?
I think at the end of the day, my ambition is still to just send it through the pack and just try and get to the lead as soon as possible, because there's only 8 cars on the grid now, so at the end of the day, the worst result I can get is 8. So if it turns into a drop round or whatever, still benefits me going into Le Mans. So as far as I'm aware, this race is just as any other reverse grid of just send it and try and get to the front. And if incidents happen, they happen. I can't be too annoyed with it, and just gotta keep pushing on and see if I can get back to the front if I get spun out.
Brilliant. Well, I enjoy watching it. Thirdly, how do the Porsches feel around here? Are they quite loose like they usually are, or and is time management a factor, obviously, with these shortened races?
To be fair, the setup I've made this week is quite nice, because normally, like on certain tracks like this, when looking into the calendar, like the ride height, I would say would have to be a bit raised because of the nature of the circuit with being fast speed stuff. But because it's quite smooth, we can run quite a low ride height, and the cars seem to be handling the track quite well. Like T3 and T2 for us are a bit sketchy because of just the nature of the corners, how they're fast corners, and you have to take curb on the second corner, and Porsches don't really like taking curbs at the best of time. But yeah, to be fair, for the races we've had here, I'd say the setup probably feels the nicest it's felt all season around this track, where it's the tyres die a bit at the end of the 20 minutes, but in terms of actual feeling for the car throughout the whole majority of a race stint, the car feels the best it's felt here.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. And finally, is there anyone you'd like to thank on the stream?
Other than my sponsors, again, like I said in my quali interview. But yeah, just see how it goes in the next race.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck. And hopefully you don't get sideswiped this time.
Hopefully so. Cheers.
Have a good one. There you have it, Nicky Taylor. Yeah, an interesting race for him. But I'm going to be joined by your race winner now, Nathan Williams. He's back on the top step once more. Nathan, how was that race on your part?
A bit chaotic, obviously starting last due to the few issues with the server, and then having Nicky Taylor go over the top of my car and give me quite significant wing damage. But I think from then I was just able to have a big enough gap, so when Nicky got the free air, he just about wasn't able to close in on me.
I can imagine. It looked like it. It looked like you were gonna. It must have been quite nerve-wracking towards the end of that race, having that ominous Porsche get ever closer. Going into this reverse grid race now, is it sort of, are you going to try work with Nicky to get through the pack, or is it elbows out, you just focus on what you're doing?
I think just focus on what you're doing, and just trying to see, because the more people you battle with, the higher the chance I can outscore Nicky by more, rather than us just trying to get 1 and 2. So I think it's just trying to drive by yourself and see where you get.
Brilliant. Well, and finally, is there anyone you'd like to thank on the stream? I'm conscious that you would like to go and get focused for your race. But yeah.
I'd like to thank my sponsor, PV Williams, as well as DKMS, and then everybody else in HFT.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck for this one. You drove a fantastic race there, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you again after this one.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, your top 3 from race 1. Fantastic drives by all 3 of them, actually. They all managed to somewhat stay out of trouble. A few incidents cost them a little bit of time, but they still prevailed overall, and some great battling that we look forward to now. Hopefully we can have a repeat. Obviously, the reverse grids are always good fun. They're always good fun to watch, aren't they? They never disappoint. We'll be getting to go in just a second. The Mustang, my sweet spot, capture Carla on the front row, starting from pole position. That's fantastic to see. A real brute and a lovely V8 sounding car there. Starting on the pole position. However, he's going to have Jonathan Ogden quite aggressive in that last race, but he did have some mega pace. So he'll be starting from P2 with Albert Henriksen Bell, interestingly, again with really good pace, starting in P3, with Olivia looking for some redemption in P4, followed by Ethan Hill, Gabriel Norse, Nicky Taylor, and Nathan Williams rounding out the reverse grid as they got the top 3 in the last event. It'll be interesting to see here. Obviously, these drivers, we've got this round and one more round to go after this with Le Mans. That's a fantastic circuit, and obviously the Mulsanne Straight, the ballast of performance is going to be costing them quite a bit. So this is where Nicky Taylor is obviously conscious that he doesn't want those extra 3 kg of ballast over Nathan Williams. But obviously Nathan's already closed that gap, and if he can get a nice gap in this one, then there's potentially no need for him to sandbag. I'm going to lay money that Jonathan Ogden, I'm going to put my bets on Johnny Ogden on this race. He had some mega pace, and he's very, very aggressive. So I think he's got a good chance of winning this race. But obviously he's going to have to be careful that he's, if he's got any championship protagonists around him, he doesn't do anything too silly because that would be devastating for them. And for him, it never feels good being involved in incidents. As there's just about 2 minutes left to go before we start race 2 here at Fuji for round 7 of the Phoenix Sim Racing GT Challenge. We have, let's run through the grid one more time, shall we? Capture Carla on P1, Ogden on P2, Henriksen Bell P3, Chris and Oscar in P4, Hill P5, Norse P6, Taylor P7, and Williams rounding out the top 8. Nathan Williams is going to be looking to be quite aggressive to get that points buffer, like I mentioned earlier. That Mustang will be wanting to fend off anyone that tries to challenge him. But that Mustang really struggles around Fuji. We've seen it tonight where he just, can't get the rotation that he wants. And that car is struggling. So, yeah, it'll be difficult. But you never know. He could potentially come back. Just over a minute now until we get going for race 2 here. Obviously, we saw that tyre management is not so much an issue. So these drivers will be once more going flat out, pedal to the metal for the whole time, for the whole duration. Yeah, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. I'm going to be honest. The Mustang will obviously be feeling the pressure. He had a really, really rough race one, I think, getting caught up in that lap one incident and then not being able to claw back the lost time that he lost. But, you know, all is not lost. He now starts pole position. Good for him for not returning back to the pit lane and keeping the race going. Johnny Ogden on P2, Henriksen Bell P3. That is your top three locked out for race 2 here. And we're going to be get going in just a second, about 15 seconds. Till the lights go out, 25 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Sub 20 seconds now. The engines will start to be turned on. The rev notes start to rise. The lights illuminate. We're going to have very, very quickly in short succession. 1 light, 2 light, 3, 4, 5, and finally the 6th light will illuminate. The revs build. Catricala with a good start off the line, it must be said. Johnny Ogden, though, pulling up alongside, though. They're side by side going to someone. The Mustang will have the advantage, but it depends how deep onto the brakes he is. Not sure if he's got the bravery or not. Oh, there's a big hit. There's a huge hit out of Henriksen Bell straight into the back. There's been a monumental incident at turn 1. Many drivers, many protagonists being taken out. That's got to be a shame for Catricala. And it will be interesting to see if there's any championship protagonists. Nathan Williams straight around the outside and into P1 of this race. Nicky Taylor still in the front fight. Gabriel North still in the front fight. Ethan Hill dropping back ever so slightly. I think that was potentially the person that caused it. I'm not too sure. I don't want to lay any blame. He's then going to be followed by Catricala. Then it's going to be Ogden just in front of that battling squabble. However, it's going to be Nathan Williams in the lead, and he's got quite a nice advantage. I think it's Gabriel Norse in P2. Yes, it is. He's going to go for the biggest send into the hairpin. He's going to completely miss his breaking point, almost take out Henriksen Bell. This has allowed Ogden straight back into the fight now. Yeah, Nicky Taylor's had a good start as well. Straight up into P2, already past Henriksen Bell. Nathan Williams really playing fire on the grass on the outside there. All the while, Nicky Taylor is gaining track limits, being completely ignored at that corner from the front two. Then before they're going to trail break into the final corner and get back to the power as quickly as they can. Nicky Taylor's going to have Henriksen Bell all over him down the main straight. I don't know if the toe will be effective to be able to gain and bring down that margin as quickly as possible. We have a huge line of cars. No one's really been able to get away, even with that big incident. It took out, I think, about 3/4 of the field, which was good, due to drivers not being able to get away. Nathan Williams, purple sector 3. Gap is 9/10. We saw Nicky Taylor's pace, though. It was rapid. It was insanely rapid. Nicky Taylor in P2. Nathan Williams leading the way. Henriksen Bell with a good start, actually, in P3. Looking to maintain that and potentially get Nicky Taylor. He's right on the back and his pace is looking strong. However, he's not been able to get away from Ethan Hill, who is all over the back of him. He's been able to get past Johnny Ogden, who's now falling down ever so slightly. He got quite a bit of damage, actually, for that race turn 1 incident. And then he is going to have it's Olivia all over the back, with Catricala following in close pursuit as well. Listen to those engine notes, they sound beautiful. Nathan Williams, the gap has severely come down. 1/10 being taken out in Sector 1, we'll see as they enter Sector 2. It's Nicky Taylor, a further 10th quicker. Purple, Nathan Williams briefly went purple, but it's Nicky Taylor that holds that realm of 36.8. A mega lap there, or mega sector time, should I say. And he is now all over the back and gaining on the likes of Henriksen Bell and North. Pulled a bit of a gap on them. Now they're, I think, going to have their own battle of their own, as they are really close and battling hard. Nathan Williams feeling like he needs to get out of the so-called original racing line and go to the middle of the circuit there to not allow anyone past or anyone through. Nathan Williams went purple in Sector 3, interestingly, so the gap has further gone out by 1/10. It is 7.5 tenths to the good. Nathan Williams, though, deep in turn 1. And all the while, this is allowing Nicky Taylor to close right up onto the back, with Henriksen Bell and North almost being dragged along with the toe. So good job by them. Jonathan Ogden was purple in sector 1 last lap, so all is not lost for him, even with that bit of damage. Nicky Taylor, though, now holds those rights. Says no, he doesn't, because Gabriel Norse does a fantastic job of 22.4 and goes purple. He is looking for that move on Henriksen Bell all the time. Nathan Williams has lost a little buffer than he had at the start of the race. Nicky Taylor all over the back now. The gap is just under 6/10 of a second. Half a second separates these two to the good. And now they're going to brake heavy into the chicane just after the bridge. Heavy onto the brakes, down first gear. Use all of the curb on the inside. Coming off the brakes, lifting off the throttle, powering back to the throttle, using all of the curb on the exit. One thing we need to pick up, though, on the exit is Norse has overtaken Henriksen Bell. Henriksen Bell, though, will not be too fond of that and will be coming back at him very, very quickly, I believe. Nicky Taylor purple in sector 2 once more. He is finding pace in that Porsche that no one else has been able to find. He looks slightly back from this pack, though. We've got Johnny Ogden and Ethan Hill going side by side. Johnny Ogden round the outside of Ethan Hill. He's going to have the inside for the final corner. He's going to be pinched by the Porsche. He's going to have to back out of it there and play the smarter game. He's going to have to drive out, though, and all the way down this main straight with 0 kg of ballast could play into huge amounts of effects. He's flashing the lights, though. Is Ethan Hill potentially asking to work with, even though Jonathan Ogden is behind, potentially a little bit of communication going on there, though. I think, though, by the looks of it, Johnny Ogden is not going to be favouring that Ethan Hill goes to the inside. Johnny Ogden on the inside, even further to that, brakes late, trails into the corner, meets the apex nicely. Ethan Hill, a nice big bump through the middle of the corner. Not too fond of that move, but Johnny Ogden gets it done and straight up into P5. Nathan Williams further again, purple in sector 3, so he really likes that quite twisty section of the circuit. Gap 5.7 tenths. And now they're flat all the way through this tight, fast right, though. Before breaking into this very, very tight left-hander. Nicky Taylor really, really wringing the neck out of that Porsche, and it's now 2 for the lead, with Gabriel Norse gaining ever more with a purple sector 1. The lights being flashed by Nicky Taylor. He's feeling like he's close enough for a little move. They're going to brake heavily, though, once more into this tight chicane, and the battle is certainly on between the two of them. Nicky Taylor, Nathan Williams, now feeling like he needs to go defensive, forcing Nicky Taylor to the outside. There's no move there, though, and now they're going to be side by side going up this sector 3 section, which is so difficult to make a move, but there are plenty of overtaking opportunities, however they are all risky moves. Nicky Taylor with a nice drive out of there. He's going to come back to the inside. Or he thought about it. He's going to go for the wide line, though, to try and get that nice drive off. Obviously, he's going to have to be thinking about that ballast. He's going to have a nice toe with that ballast. The lights are illuminating for Gabriel Norse. He feels like he can get on this now and potentially try and go for a move. He is really lighting up those sector times, Gabriel. He's going quicker than both of them ahead, and this could be a purple time, you know. It is a purple time with a 38.432. Nicky Taylor pulls to the outside. Nathan Williams in extremely deep into the corner. This now allows Nicky Taylor right up onto the back. He's got a good drive. He completely ignores the track limits once more. With 13 minutes left of this race, Nathan Williams is under increasing amounts of pressure. We're going to go into this fast left-hander before coming into this very, very long right-handed corner, which is extremely fast. A little lift in the middle of the corner, putting it straight back to the power and following it all the way through. 3 for the lead, 3 HFTs for the lead. Once again, Nicky Taylor to the outside. Nathan Williams putting up a good defensive drive, and he stops on the inside. Nicky straight into the wall, spins out of the race. That could be huge for the championship. That could be absolutely massive for the championship. Nathan did a really good job, actually, of parking it on the apex there from Nicky. Nicky felt like he could get the drive, slightly misjudged it, and straight into the back. He went off his teammate, but this now has allowed Gabriel right up onto the back, and this couldn't be so easy as Nathan was expecting to start with spin. Albert Henriksen Bell now lighting up the sector times in P3 with a 36.8. A good sector time from him there, and right on the back, interestingly, of Gabriel Norse. So it's almost 3 for the lead once more. Depends, though, if Nathan Williams got out of the draft of Gabriel Norse, because if that has happened, it's almost his race to lose then. But if he hasn't, then it's going to be extremely close between the two. We'll see whereabouts Nicky Taylor's got down to. He has dropped down. He's still on the main straight with them, but he's behind Johnny Ogden now, which is not what he needs. Obviously, he's not in the championship, so not ideal times. The gap is exactly 1 second on the dot between the two leaders, and then 1.6 tenths back is Albert Henriksen Bell from Gabriel Norse. So, yeah, Norse is going to have to put up a really good few laps here to try and close back within the draft of Nathan Williams. But Nathan is unlocking pace that he didn't find in race 1, but he's now finding in race 2, and he's starting to build a little gap on his teammates. I think Gabriel North, though, is going to have to be looking further backwards than he is forwards. The Porsche site of Albert Henriksen Bell is looking extremely prominent in his mirrors. A little bit of grass there from Henriksen Bell, really lighting up the rear there, and forcing a little bit sideways. He's a 10th quicker than Gabriel in sector 1, so the gap is coming down. Nathan Williams also matched Henriksen Bell at 22.5, so starting to back Gabriel. Gabriel's losing potentially a little bit of time. You see there, Henriksen Bell a little bit more disciplined and nicely to the apex. He's really bringing the neck out of this Porsche. You see it go sideways quite a few times, and this is where he will struggle in sector 3 if he keeps using up his tyres as much as he does. He bounces across the curb there, completely ignoring the track with that little slide. He had to open up the corner. Nicky Taylor's on one though. He's set a purple sector 2, so all is not lost, and he's going to be trying, you never know, still half the race to go, potentially to try and pick up the podium position on his which is not out of the realms of possibility, as he's almost on his back. We see now the gap between the front two. We'll see what the gap is. It's gone up by 2/10. The gap is 1.2 seconds between the front two, and the gap is now 1 second to Albert Henriksen Bell behind Gabriel North. So Albert Henriksen, with those little few mistakes in sector 3, really cost him, and definitely not what he needed one bit. Nicky Taylor with some tremendously fast times here, and he's now pushing on to the back of Jonathan Ogden. The gap is really small now, but it depends how hard Jonathan Ogden fights this. If I was him, I wouldn't suggest fighting too hard. I would conserve what you've got, and he isn't in it for the championship. Nicky Taylor is, and Nicky Taylor's going to be quite aggressive, I would imagine, with these moves, quite assertive and dominant with his moves, which he's fully allowed to be, so long as he doesn't take anyone out. Albert Henriksen Bell lighting up the sector 1 times with a 22.4, personal best, and they were both quicker, interestingly, than Nathan Williams in P1. Gabriel North starting to bring that gap back down to Nathan Williams. I think the closest battle on the circuit currently, though, is Nicky Taylor and Jonathan Ogden. That Porsche's closed right up onto the back of the Ferrari, and he's now going to have a good drive into this sector 3. Is he going to go for the move straight away, or is he going to get with his toe like we usually see him do? I think there's a potential move coming after the main straight, but we'll see if he's quite quick with his move. No, but he's going to sit behind, he's going to get within the toe. He doesn't need to, though, because Jonathan Ogden runs wide, goes fully sideways, and allow him up the inside straight up into P4. See what the gap is now between the front two. The gap was 1.201 as they came across the line the last lap. The gap is now 1.137, so about 0.07 of a second taken out on that last lap from Nathan Williams by Gabriel North, so a good lap there, but they are running so close together. It's going to take a mistake from Nathan Williams to allow Gabriel to close back. Albert Henriksen Bell slightly dropping off. He's now 2.4 for the good back. With Nicky Taylor has 6.7 seconds to close, however only 4 seconds to Albert Henriksen Bell, so there's a still potential move for P3 and potentially P2 if they fight. You never know what can happen in this championship. Nathan's just got to keep it nice and consistent now, but I have to say another further 10th being taken out of him by Gabriel North in sector 1. That Porsche in second place is looking ever more ominous for a race win. Once again, going to brake heavy into the chicane, trail off the brakes, use the sausage curb on the inside, and North is closing in on Williams. It's a purple sector 2 from Gabriel North on a 36.5. Rapid laps here being set from Gabriel North. He's just going to have to keep banging in these consistent laps if he wants a chance of fighting for the lead, which I think he could. He runs slightly wide there, which isn't going to help his hopes, but the gap is under a second now. He's within the toe. This is his chance. Less balanced by quite a bit, like 15 kg. This is it. The battle is now on for the race lead. Albert Henriksen Bell slightly dropping off now in P3, fully into the clutches of Nicky Taylor, which would be a great recovery drive if he can get a podium. It's definitely not out of possibility. Gabriel North, though, 9/10 to the good. He set a 38.2 on that last lap. Absolutely rapid, so fast, so fast. And he's really closing up onto the back of Nathan Williams now. Really close. 9/10, it doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me when I say this, Nathan Williams will be, in the mirrors, it looks a lot larger than it actually is, and Gabriel Norse will now be putting on the move. We saw his dive bombs that he makes in race 1 and the good part of this race. So Nathan Williams will be having to watch his mirrors at every second, using that real-world experience once more to try and put, you know, Gabriel Norse in some tricky situations for him to pass. You saw the lights now illuminate from Gabriel Norse, meaning he's going to be wanting to put as much pressure on as possible as Nathan Williams. Could see a few flashed off the headlights. Nathan Williams, he saw a little slide, struggling maybe with the tyres. Flashes are now coming on from Gabriel Norse. This is the battle with 5.5 minutes remaining. Nicky Taylor closing up onto the back of Henriksen Bell here, potentially, as he makes a little mistake, but there's potentially a little move coming at the end. You never quite know in this championship. Lights are flashing once more from Gabriel Norse. He is so close to the back of Nathan Williams, and we know he's late on the brakes and gets it stopped nicely to the apex. So here we go. The battle is now on. We'll see what the gap is across the line. It's definitely less than 9 tenths of a second, and he's gaining ever more with this toe. Comes across the line and does a 6 tenths. 6 tenths is the gap between these two. He looks for a half move. That was never ever going to work, but you see him putting under pressure from Nathan Williams, which is what you need to do when you're following such an experienced driver such as this, trying to put them off their marks. See how sideways that P2 car of Gabriel Norse is getting. He is putting everything on the line here to try and get past Nathan Williams. Nathan has responded though with his best sector 1 of the race on a 22.5. Gabriel Norse on a 22.6, so a 10th extended there. But you just see there, Norse getting it slightly better to the apex. And that car is on rails. It's really, really gaining on Nathan Williams. The other thing to take into consideration is they're within the same setup shop of HFT in the same team. So they are pretty much on level pegging qualities here. You see how late Gabriel Norse was onto the brakes there. I'm not sure if he was going to get it stopped, but he did, and he got it nicely stopped. And it's really close back up onto the back of Nathan Williams now. I reckon if he can get this sector 3 nicely hooked up, there's a move coming into turn 1, because obviously the toe and less ballast could really play into effect of Gabriel here. Going to break into, and Nathan Williams has thrown it all away. He's touched the grass and he spins out of the race. Henriksen Bell's gone through to 2nd place. How close is Nicky Taylor? Nicky Taylor's not quite close enough, but it's really levelled out once more for the championship. Nathan Williams will not have the buffer that he would have wanted. He really would have wanted that buffer, but alas, it comes to no avail. With a slight mistake, but what that has done is allowed Gabriel Norse to the front. Potentially just feeling a little bit of pressure there. Was Nathan Williams with Albert Henriksen Bell. Should be a great finish if he can finish in P2, but Nathan will be wanting to claw that back if he can. The gap is not monstrous, so there's always potential moves on the table. See Olivia having a bit of a rough time, 18 seconds back, 1.5 seconds back from Capture Carla, but definitely not the race too she would have wanted, especially with that reverse grid. Quite a shame. Henriksen Bell just needs to stay nice and consistent here to not fall off of the back of Nathan Williams, not fall into the clutches of him. Gabriel Norse has been given the lifeline here. He's now 3 seconds to the grid up in front. He just needs to keep it nice and consistent and keep it on the road, and he should be coming home with a P1 if he doesn't throw anything away. The battle, I think, now to watch, everyone's sort of spread it out. It'll be Nathan Williams and Albert Henriksen Bell are the ones to watch. Nathan Williams closing up onto the back of Albert Henriksen Bell this lap. 4 tenths to the good has been taken out, and he is now well within the close. So this is it. The battle is now on for P2 of the podium finishes. He's got 2 laps in which to do it with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining. They're going to get this one and about 5 seconds to spare, like we saw in the previous one as well. They're going to come up to the line. Gabriel is going to cross the line. The gap to the leader is going to be 3.2, extended by 2 tenths last lap. Probably because Henriksen Bell, which he actually should be doing, is focusing behind rather than in front. Nathan Williams banging in a really respectable lap there of the 38.6, and he is now only 8 tenths behind Henriksen Bell. Took out 3 tenths on that last lap. I have to say, Nathan Williams' car looks more hooked up here. Henriksen Bell struggling to get some apexes, and having to be a little bit earlier on the brakes to compensate for the car. That is slightly struggling towards the last part of this race. However, he's done a fantastic job on the consistency, just trying to keep that thing on the road, which is a tough ask in itself. See Nathan Williams getting ever closer, ever more formidable. The one person to watch out for, though, is Nicky Taylor. He's banged in some great laps, and he is now really firmly on the back of these guys, really closing in quite considerably. But it'll be interesting to see if he's ran out of time. I think he would have, but never say never in this championship. Is Nathan Williams going to look up the inside? No, he's not, but he's going to be ever closer to the back of Henriksen Bell here for P2. So here we go, out of the final corner, well within the toe now. He's going to try and break the toe. Nathan Williams on the flashes. So is Nicky Taylor. You see Albert Henriksen Bell trying to weave across the circuit, trying to break that toe. The gap is coming down. It's closing between these two Porsches. Henriksen Bell will possibly have to go on the defensive here. It's now 6 tenths to the good. Further 2 tenths was taken out on that last lap. Is Nathan going to try anything silly, or is he going to try and bank third place? You see Henriksen Bell there with a big slide. On the exit of turn 2 there, turn 1, allowing Nathan to get about 3 tenths to the good. This is so close after 20 minutes of racing. Absolutely awesome to see. Nathan Williams with a huge slide there through one of the most committed corners of the circuit. Fantastic to see these drivers bringing the neck. You see the fantastic Mount Fuji off in the distance. And here we go. The Porsche onto the brakes, trailing the brakes off. So close to the back of Henriksen Bell. He's got a nice drive out. Henriksen Bell will need to go to defensive in here because Nathan Williams will be looking for every opportunity he can. This is potentially the last overtaking spot he can thrive from. You see Henriksen Bell to the white line. He's going to go super defensive. Nathan Williams so late on the brakes. He gets it stopped. He goes around the outside of the first part. A little bit of contact. He's going to have the inside. Henriksen Bell, though, is going to have the inside for the next one if he doesn't get run out of road. No, he doesn't. He's now on the inside. He's going to brake so late into the corner. Nathan Williams on the outside. If he's able to hang around the outside here, which he does, he's now got the inside for the next one. However, Henriksen Bell throws it straight back up the inside. Does he get it stopped? Yes, it does. Fantastic, clean, fair racing here. And this has allowed Nicky Taylor right up onto the back, so they can't be too generous because Nicky Taylor will be sensing every opportunity. Henriksen Bell straight back up the inside of Nicky Taylor. Nathan Williams, Now he hasn't got the drive. Nathan Williams has got P2. Henriksen Bell P3. Nicky Taylor's got the drive, but I think he's just going to come home in P4. Unfortunate for him. It would have been great to have a catch-up with him. But there you go. Gabriel North wins the race through here at Fuji, and it's going to be Nathan Williams that takes a fantastic P2 after a great move on that final lap. It's going to be Henriksen Bell that takes P3. A solid effort from him with a great podium, and Nicky Taylor unfortunately not able to get the top 3, but still P4 for him, which he'll be happy about. P5 for Johnny Ogden, P6 for Ethan Hill, and 7th for Catricala, and Olivia rounding out the top 8 of this race. So we'll let the drivers get back to the pits now after a thrilling race 2. We'll go to a short ad break and catch up with the top 3 very shortly.
What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Nerd PC Turbo Tech Reviews. Now today is something a little bit different. Normally we do just reviews on a single item, but today we're going to be showing you guys what you can expect from Nerd PC. Nerd PC is a bespoke building company where you can get absolutely any sort of style of gaming PC, office work PC, retail, or even for school work. This PC here demonstrates how small they can be, but yet still pack an absolute powerful punch. So from such a small computer like this, you may be worrying about heat, but these fans inside of here keep it absolutely ice cold as well as quiet. Now listen to this. Nice and quiet. Beautiful. Now we build completely different style of computers. Like I said, from this little one up here, it's all down to you. You get to decide on which case you want to use. You get to decide if you want it all flashy and RGB. You get to decide whether you want it completely plain and black. Remember, we did the hard part of figuring out which components work best for you for your value for money, but you get to decide on how it looks. If you're after something that's in your face, some bright and powerful as this. So this build here is in a Gigabyte C102 glass Arctic Ice case with 320mm Cooler Master fans at the front, 360mm all-in-one cooler at the top. This full white ice build does look insane, and I can assure you, you will not be disappointed. So if you're on the market for a brand new shining gaming computer, or if you want a computer for home use, retail, or office work, it's completely down to you. We just make it happen. So if you haven't done already, go and head over to the website at www.nerdpc.co.uk, have a browse through, see what's on there, or drop us a message directly on Facebook, and we'll do our absolute best to make it happen for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy this video, hit the like for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!
Hello everyone and welcome back after two absolutely fantastic races here at Fuji tonight. I'm first going to be joined by Albert Henriksen Bell with a great P3 there. Fantastic battling at the end. How was that race on your end of things?
There we go. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lap 1, a bit chaotic as usual. That's your standard lap 1 stuff. And then slightly shorter race just meant I think everyone was just that bit more aggressive and just going for those positions just that bit quicker. And it meant a few more people making mistakes, but that meant I could finally have a good battle with Nathan.
It looked like a fantastic battle and looked very, very entertaining. Have you enjoyed Fuji tonight in the Porsche? Has it been good fun?
Well, the first race I had about 45 degrees of steering left when I was going straight, so that was good. Yeah, second race wasn't too bad. It's a good circuit for battling, and I mean it heats the tyres quite well. But yeah, it's fun.
And obviously we go to the iconic Le Mans circuit next. How do you think the Porsche is going to fare on there? Obviously you've got the likes of the Mustang who will be extremely quick in a straight line. But obviously are you looking forward to Le Mans and racing it?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's just such a famous circuit. Even if it's in sim racing, you just if you know you've got that coming up, you're so excited for it. I'm a little conscious of how much quicker the Mustang should be down the straights, but we'll see what happens.
Hopefully the bot will sort that out. And finally, is there anyone you'd like to thank on the stream before I let you go?
Probably my mother and father, who have been helping me a lot with my, well, just supporting me recently, as I've got my theory test coming up tomorrow, and they've been helping me with that, so...
Brilliant. Well, I wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you driving in quickly as real life, as we do on the sim. Have a good evening, and I'll let you get off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Well, next we're going to be joined by Nathan Williams, who put a fantastic move on Albert on that last lap. It came down to the wire, but he did a great job. Nathan, how was that on your end of things? Obviously, an interesting start, but managed to get your head down and do a good result.
Yeah, I think obviously it's quite interesting, and the start going from last to first within 2 corners. So that's quite a good start, and then I think it's just a bit of battling mid throughout the race. I think I had a bit of an incident with Nicky midway through, and then spin in the middle, and then it put it down to very last minute move on Albert to get second.
It was a fantastic drive to come back all the way to second. Nice little recovery drive after a little incident, but it is what it is. Now going into the final round, obviously, I'm not sure if you're in the lead of the championship, but it will certainly be close. Very, very close. Are you looking forward to Le Mans, and how's the pressure going into it?
I'm looking forward to Le Mans. It's always a really nice track to drive. I think the pressure is going to depend on who leads the championship going into Le Mans, because for once I think you want to be behind with the ballast. You want to be behind, but not too far behind. I think it's hopefully just getting the 27 kgs of ballast rather than the 30.
Exactly that. Obviously, have you enjoyed Fuji tonight? Has it been a good circuit to race at?
It's not one of my favourites. I've never really driven it before this, but I think coming to here, I didn't think I had the pace of Nicky, so to outscore him this round, I'm quite happy with.
Fantastic. Well, you did a fantastic effort, and I look forward to hopefully catching up with you again next week. And I wish you all the very best of in your training for Le Mans. And yeah, have a good week.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Nathan Williams in P2. A great drive, a great recovery drive. But the man of the hour, Gabriel Norse, managed to get the lead and then never really looked back. He was sort of gifted it with Nathan's slight spin, which is a bit unfortunate. But Gabriel, how do you feel after that race 2 win?
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it went. Yeah, of course, it was definitely unlucky with Nathan's spin in the middle of the race, or well, really near the end. But yeah, I was quite happy with that race. I felt like I was the fastest in consistency, and I felt like even before Nathan's spin, I was catching him a lot. So yeah, I was very happy with that win.
Fantastic. Well, you did an awesome job. I'm going to ask the same that I did to the other drivers because it's interesting getting other people's feedback. Have you enjoyed the circuit tonight? Has it been interesting? Or is it one of your lesser popular circuits?
Enjoy Fuji, but it's definitely a challenge to keep the tyres in temperature. But yeah, I think it's a very good circuit. Final sector maybe not so much, but overall I've enjoyed driving it.
Fantastic. Now going into Le Mans next week, obviously it's such an iconic circuit, but there are a lot of people in it for the championship. Are you going to try and stay out of trouble? Is there going to be any working together, or are you just sort of going to focus on what you do best and try and bring home a win at the iconic Le Mans circuit?
I think next week I have to be aggressive if I want any chance of being in that top 3. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think just being aggressive and kind of getting to the front will be very important, considering Le Mans is quite a slipstreamy circuit. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, but hopefully gonna be at the front end.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for your time. You've driven a superb race tonight, and I can't wait to see how you get on at Le Mans. Best of luck with the training for Le Mans, and have a good week.
Yep, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, there you have it, your top 3 from race 2 at Fuji. And as it's about to come up on your screen, I will see you next time. It's been a fantastic evening.